Alright anime fans, last week we explored Basilisk the Kouga Ninja Scrolls. Today let's dive into the sequel or spin-off that carried the cursed legacy forward, Basilisk the Ouka Ninja Scrolls. If you haven't watched the first season, stop this video right here because there would be some spoilers ahead. Now moving on. If the original Basilisk was a brutal love tragedy that burned like a flame, Ouka is the Ashes, a continuation of blood, betrayal, and destiny, but with a new generation forced to live under the shadow of the massacre their clans can never forget. And let's be clear, this isn't some happy new chapter. This is fate saying, did you think it was over? Fuck no. The cycle continues. So the story takes place 10 years after the slaughter of the Kouga and Iga clans. You'd think the blood feud would have ended, but nope. The shogunate once again pulls the strings and pits the remnants of the clans against each other. This time, the war centers on two children who are direct descendants of Gennosuke and Oboro. They inherit the legacy of tragedy, even though they had no part in starting the bloodbath that came before. The political tension, the manipulation by the ruling elite, and the sheer hatred between the clans all spiral into yet another death game where young warriors are sacrificed like pawns. It's the same nightmare, just in a new generation's skin. A group of skilled but rebellious shinobi called the Eight Night Warriors challenges the authority of both the Kouga and Iga. Their goal is to revive conflict, manipulate the clans, and use them in a new political struggle. The Kouga and Iga, trying desperately to avoid another massacre, get forced into missions that slowly build tension between the clans again. Now let's talk about the characters. Alright, first is Hachirou Kouga, the male lead and Gennosuke's descendant. He inherits his ancestors' deadly ocular technique, but he carries himself with a heavy, burdened seriousness. He doesn't want to be a killer, but fate, well, it throws him into the same cursed path. Up next is Hibiki Iga, Oboro's descendant, sweet, conflicted, and tied to her clan's hatred against her will. Just like Oboro, she's the tragic figure whose bloodline makes her a weapon, not a person. Then we have the new Kouga and Iga warriors. Each side once again sends a squad of deadly ninjas, each with bizarre, grotesque, and terrifying powers. From body horror to elemental attacks, the creativity is as twisted as ever. And finally, the shogunate. Still the same manipulative bastards pulling the strings, treating the clans like disposable playthings for their political games. Now let's talk about the action. The fights in Ouka Ninja Scrolls keep the same savage, short but deadly energy of the original. Every battle is a grotesque showcase of ninja powers that feel more like curses than gifts. Hachirou's eye technique mirrors Gennosuke's, giving us callbacks to the original series, while showing how the new generation inherits both strength and tragedy. Iga powers lean toward chaos and distortion, doubling down on their role as the villain clan, though in truth both sides are victims of history. The fights are brutal, messy, and tragic. You're not cheering for winners, you're watching people die because their ancestors couldn't bury their hatred. Coming to the themes. While Kouga Ninja Scrolls was about love, duty, and hatred against each other, Ouka Ninja Scrolls is all about inheritance of tragedy. It's about bloodline burden. The children of Gennosuke and Oboro's clans are cursed from birth. They inherit the pain of a war they didn't start. It's about the cycle of hatred. Even after so much death, history repeats itself because those in power exploit that hatred for control. It's about destiny versus choice. Just like the first series, the question really remains, can anyone actually break the cycle? Or, are they just doomed to repeat their ancestors' mistakes? Honestly, it's less about romance and more about the crushing inevitability of fate. Now talking about the animation and music, well, here's where fans really split. Ouka Ninja Scrolls doesn't have the same gritty, hand-drawn intensity of the 2005 original. The animation is more modern, cleaner even, but it definitely loses some of the raw brutality that made Basilisk iconic. Still, the powers are animated with a lot of flair, and the atmosphere stays heavy and suffocating. And while the music does a solid job capturing the tragic weight of the story, but honestly, it doesn't quite reach the legendary status of Kouga Ninpu Cho. It's good, just not as unforgettable. So why it's worth watching? Well, because Ouka Ninja Scrolls proves that tragedy doesn't just end with one generation. It's a continuation of a cursed legacy, showing how hatred and manipulation by those in power will always breed new wars. It gives fans of the original more twisted ninja powers, shocking deaths, and political intrigue. And it asks the painful question, can anyone ever escape the sins of their ancestors? While it may not hit as hard as the original Basilisk, it's still a dark, violent, and haunting tale that deepens the mythology of the Kouga and Iga clans. If you loved the first series, Ouka is worth experiencing. Not because it makes you feel good, but because it reminds you that some stories are meant to hurt. That's it for today. Would you like a video on the power system of Basilisk? Let us know in the comments. Subscribe for more anime content, and I'll catch you in the next one, my samurais and ninjas.